Hi, and welcome to another OJM Motors test report. Here we are on a beautiful afternoon with one of my favorite old outboard motors, the Johnson CD-15. This is a 1958 Johnson 5.5. And as most people who collect old outboards know, the CD series started out in 1954 with the CD-10. It was a Johnson exclusive that year in 54 and 55. And then in 1956, sister company Evinrude started offering the 5.5 as the Fisherman. These are a great motor. I picked this one up at a yard sale for $50 a number of years ago. It had a broken gearshift lever and needed the usual coil replacement, carburetor gone through, and a water pump. But it's really a great running motor. These things are a staple of the old outboard world. They made them from 1954 right up until about 1979 with a lot of different improvements. The first series from 54 through 1955 had sort of a different leg with different silencing, and then in 56 through 58 they were relatively the same. In 59 they added a thermostat, and in 1965 they got a fiberglass hood. They actually got a fiberglass hood in 59, but they got a different fiberglass hood in 1965, and they rated them at 6 horsepower with some different porting and some other tricks that they did to tweak the extra half horsepower. But then after that, right up into the late 70s, they were pretty much the same motor. These are a really great little fishing motor. Very reliable, easy to work on. Let's take this one for a spin. These are an 8.84 cubic inch motor. 2-cylinder, and they still use the old Johnson and Evinrude pressure tank system. Don't have a fuel pump, so you need to have a special fuel tank for it unless you're willing to cobble the parts together to put a fuel tank on it. They really idle beautifully. You can hear this guy just ticking over here, or barely even moving, and it'll do this pretty much all day long. I love the graphics on the 58 unique with the Johnson in script. The badge in the front was 57 and 58 only. It's also got, perhaps, I don't know if you can see it here, the world's most uncomfortable tiller grip with all these serrations in it to cut into your hand. That was also a Johnson only unique thing for 57 and 58. This motor cost $230 brand new. I don't know if I mentioned that before. And here it is, 2012, and it's still running great, so I guess that was quite a good bargain. It's on my 12-foot Duranautic here. Performance isn't exactly stellar. Moves along okay. We're going about 11 miles an hour. Just me in the boat. But speed isn't really what the Johnson CD series is about. It's really just about getting to your favorite fishing place, getting there quietly, smoothly, efficiently, and reliably. Of course, reliable outboards was Johnson's slogan for most of their time they were in business. Another great thing about this motor is it has these latches in the hood, flips up for full access to it, and then you just undo a strap and it pulls off the front. You know, in the 1950s there were probably about 10 different manufacturers that were all making outboards in the 5 and 6 horsepower range, and pretty much the Johnson and then, you know, obviously sister company Evinrude were the gold standard. You know, there's fans who love the Mercuries, and then there's a lot of the different off-brands that were out there. The, you know, certainly Oliver, and in the earlier 50s, the Champions and Martin. They, of course, had gone by the mid-1950s, but when it really comes down to it, it's hard to beat the Johnson and Evinrude products from that time. You know, the Mercury from this vintage, the Mark VI, had push buttons in the front for neutral and forward. You still had to spin it around to put it in gear. It didn't have full forward, neutral, and reverse. I also find the Mercury's a little more challenging to work on with that power head being sort of inset in the cup like they are. I know they have their fans, but for me, get a mid-50s Johnson, it's pretty much as good as it gets. Anyway, I'm going to go for a little longer spin here. I hope wherever you are, you're having as nice a day as this, and we'll see you out on the water next time.